few good reviews, 17. Now from now on with this little series, what I'm gonna do is as and when I have my thoughts on an album, I'm just gonna like record myself talking about the album. So what's gonna happen is every album I talk about, I'm gonna look a bit different, you know, wearing different clothes, and it's because I'm recording each of my thoughts at separate times. I just think it's a bit easier because I can talk about one album as I've heard it and it's fresh in my mind, as opposed to recording it all in one big gauntlet and probably forgetting little snippets of albums. So I think this is gonna be the best way to do it, okay? Okay. mewithoutYou is one of those bands that I always see a praise on Rate Your Music, and every time I listen to them I'm just not really fazed by what they do. And Untitled is pretty much another installment of that feeling, I guess, in their discography. I haven't gone back to their earliest material, which I think is the material that gets the most praise, but the past few albums I've listened to, I've just not really been that interested in. Like, this sound to me is just pretty stale, and I don't think mewithoutYou offers all that much new to the table here. Like, they're not bringing any interesting ideas. It's very much like indie rock blended in with post-hardcore, but it's mostly indie rock, so it ends up sounding very soft to me. Just doesn't ever really kick in, you know? The opening track starts off pretty well. We've got this At the Drive-In-esque like delivery from the vocalist, probably the ballsiest he sounds on the whole album, and it kind of just fades away as we go on and on and on through the album. It ends up falling into like 90s emo math rock, sort of like in the vein of Slint. There are a few moments on this album that sounds so much like Slint. It is unbelievable, and I'm just struggling to see what they have that's so interesting. Like, I don't know, it just isn't meaty enough for me. It's just such a soft sounding album. The vocals at times have this like nasal delivery that make me wince a little bit, you know, the Queen of Spain and Queen of Portugal. Like, I don't know, man, I'm just not into this. I want a bit more fire in my post-hardcore, and mewithoutYou does not provide that. And yeah, it's just one of those bands that gets that like reputation for being really good in the genre that they're doing, but to me they're just another blank face within a crowd that's filled with so much sounding like this. Yeah, it's like the definition of a 6 out of 10 album to me. Like, they're doing everything at a decent level. There's nothing bad on here. Some of the instrumentals are pretty good, pretty melodic, but yeah, it's just so familiar in its sound, and I just can't pick out anything about this band that's fresh and new to my ears. There's just nothing here I can pick out, and I haven't even listened to like that much of this genre. Like, I've heard a lot, but I'm sure there are people out there that have heard more than me, and I'm still getting those feelings from this album. So yeah, it's fine, substantial, doing what they do at a decent level, but not really exciting to my ears. Reidy, my boy Sean, has come back with an EP. Last year I gave a recommendation for his album, then went on to interview the guy. He's a great guy. You should definitely check out that album, and definitely check out this EP, because I think there have been some improvements since that album. Honestly, I think his singing has gotten better. I remember my one minor gripe with his debut album was that there were just a few moments where the singing just didn't quite cut it, but this time around I think it works a lot better, honestly. Like, some of these hooks are really good, and I do want to mention like the emo trap trend that we're currently in right now, because it's something that's become quite prominent in the mainstream. And one issue I always have with that sound is that, you know, rappers can just come through with such a whiny tone to their voice, whereas Sean here, there's never any of that. Like, he can sing really well and also have something really interesting to say and talk about some serious stuff, and yet he controls his vocals in a nice way over these really somber and soft beats that are just really nice to listen to, like especially on the track with Sigo and Benedict the Moore, who I was really surprised to see on this EP too. He's a pretty talented underground rapper, and that track has like this lullaby beat that is so lovely. Like it just sounds so twinkly, it is so cute, it's like ASMR, the beat, or whatever I've just made up there. But hey, I make up things sometimes, and it sometimes works, and this EP, it does work. I'm talking so much shit, but I do think Sean just has such a nice introspective delivery to him, you know? He sounds really there's something about his voice that just has this really nice tone to it that also gives off some like intelligence, some introspection, and he can talk a lot about things in a really good way, in a quite a Milo-esque way. I think the Milo influence is still here, and it works for him because honestly it's a nice EP. I think you should check it out. I would like to see Reidy grow even further in the future because he deserves it. This is good. Wow, Quavo really gave us something special here, didn't he? Shit. My god, this is bad. It's not like the worst album I've heard all year, but this is bad, isn't it? God, his lyrics on here are so terrible. And the beats are like the most ordinary sounding trap beats I think I've ever heard. Like, this is just the most stale album he could have released. Migos are just like ready to kill themselves off now, aren't they? Like they really are just, they're just doing it. They gave us Culture 2, and now Quavo, who I think is the weakest link of Migos, by the way, I think he is the worst member, has given us an hour and 10 minutes of music that is just so throwaway. Like there is not a single track on here that stood out at all. At least with Culture 2 we got Stir Fry, but like, ooh. He tries a dancehall song. Like, he actually tried a dancehall song. And there's one song where, like, the whole premise is, like, built around him, like, worshipping fucking Nicki Minaj. God, this was bad. Quavo. Migos. Oh, God, they're just ready to ruin their careers now, aren't they? They got that award recently for best pop rock group or whatever it was. People got a bit annoyed over it, but now it's just like, yep, they've got to the height of their popularity and they're just ready to fizzle out of existence, because that's all I can see at the minute. Like, I just don't know if they can carry on the hype after stuff like this, but maybe they'll change. They'll change my mind and do something that's actually quite good. But seriously, this has not been a good year for them, despite the fact that they are at the height of their popularity. Fuck, man, Quavo, the same flows and ad-libs the whole way through. It is the same shit. It's the same shit, just without the other good members of the group. Like, who could possibly sit through this? I do not know. Oh, Jesus Christ, this was not good. Oh, God. This Marissa Nadler album is lovely. It's probably one of the loveliest albums I have sat through all year. I mean, it's just so gorgeous in its sound, but unfortunately that's kind of all I can say. I mean, she has a beautiful voice. The instrumentation is absolutely lush as it could possibly be. But I guess I just wanted a little bit more from it. I mean, it's only like 34 minutes and it feels like a friggin' Kanye West Wyoming Sessions album, because it just flies by in like 20 minutes and I'm just like, wow, like, is this done already? Like, it feels like it just doesn't stick around for long enough to really resonate with you. But it is like a nice listen. I can't really argue with it at all. It does remind me a little bit of like how her last album felt to me, which I think was a little bit better than For My Crimes, but both, to be honest, don't really do that much for me overall. They're just nice listens. I can't help but feel that there are people in the genre that are doing it a little bit better, like Julia Holter, for example, Juliana Barwick, who's incredibly underrated as well. Like, they just have a little bit more texture to the music that they craft. But this is nice. Go check it out if you're a fan of like chamber pop, piano type stuff. It's a nice listen. Jess Glynne, man, she's an odd one because I don't know, she kind of sounds good on most of her songs. Sometimes her voice gets a little irritating. I feel like she just continues to do the same vocal inflections on every song. But to be fair, she's very inoffensive and doesn't really make anything that's remotely trash. Except a couple of tracks on here, like Rolling, that was pretty bad. But yeah, I just don't see what appeal she has that's different to everything else in pop. Sure, she has a better voice than most pop singers, but where's the audience for her music? Like, most of the charts now are dominated by like hip hop, trap, and currently there's a grime song at #1, and I just feel like where is Jess Glynne in this pop sphere? Like, why isn't this place being taken up by Lorde or Carly Rae Jepsen, Rina Sawayama, Anderson .Paak? You know, like, what is Jess offering that other singers in the pop world aren't already doing? If not, they're doing better. I don't know. I feel like she was fine when she first started out. Had a few good songs. The song with Clean Bandit is a great pop song, but like since then she just did copy and paste with everything, and people like to eat it up. And yeah, this album, some of the lyrics are so stale and ordinary. Like, you've heard them 100 times before, like on I'll Be There and All I Am. Like, these are just so painful to listen to in terms of the lyrics. Like, it's just every cliche just thrown into one song. It's like that last Pink album that came out last year. It's just all the cliches you could ever imagine just thrown into one, and it just gets churned out over and over again. And the same people fall for it, and the same shit keeps getting made, and it's like, oh. I did like the second track though. It reminded me a bit of Nina Simone. But other than that, that's about as far as it gets. So the best song on the album reminded me of a legend that did it better 50 years ago. That's about as much as we can say with this one, okay? Yeah, it's not good, is it? And that's it for a few good reviews. Hope you enjoyed this. I think it's a bit longer than usual, so apologies if you're sitting through listening to me talk about albums that you don't particularly care about, but I'm sure there's something in this list that you will be interested in hearing about. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Let me know your thoughts on any of these albums if you've heard them. If you like them more than me, let me know. Have a good day.